We're back again for the 6th Wellbeing podcast. It's a great one, Raising Children, Elders Edition. And we're going to have elders on the panel, our elders, and they're going to be doing most of the talking. We're going to be doing most of the listening. Really excited about this. I know I say that every time, but I really am. I love listening to elders, so it's going to be a good one. So what are the most two memorable things that I carry with me today that I've learned from elders? So the first thoughts that came to mind were my nanny, Carmentha, in Barbados, telling me to slow down. So I went to Barbados. The last time I went, it's a long time ago now. I think I was about 26 at the time. So we're talking 20 years ago was the last time I went to Barbados. And I, at the time, was living in London and I was used to moving fast on a regular basis. So I like to walk fast. I'd walk fast through London. I'd walk fast through the tube when I was commuting, and it was my default. And I was with Nanny in Barbados and she told me to slow down. What's my problem? What am I rushing for? And she said, people in Barbados don't move that fast. And it was a good reminder, really, that, you know, I was in a mode, and I needed the reminder to get out of that mode. So thank you for that, Nanny. And then the other piece of advice was Grandad. And Grandad told us, and I always tell this story about Grandad's wisdom because it really stuck with me. It resonated a lot at the time. Grandad said when he was growing up, everybody had nothing, but everybody shared their nothing. And what he meant by that was the materialistic things in life, because they didn't have nothing. Because in Barbados you have the beautiful nature, the scenery, you can pick fruit off the tree, you know, you've got obviously the weather and all that. But materially, people didn't have things. And I'm confident that there were times where it was a struggle for them. But he said everybody shared and there was a sense of community, and a sense of happiness. So that always stuck with me as well. So thank you, Grandad, for that one. Nanny and Grandad are the most relevant elders in my world. We spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house growing up until they returned to the Caribbean. So although we didn't have deep conversations, in truth, I'm of that generation where elders were elders. So a lot of the time it was sitting around listening to adults reasoning, not necessarily getting involved in the conversation, but being present and listening to what was being said. So yeah, Nanny and Grandad, thank you so much for your wisdom and guidance. How do I feel about the way elders are with children today as opposed to when we were growing up? I think it's a lot more appropriate, in truth. I think when I was a child, so I grew up in the 80s, I had my childhood in the 80s and became a teenager, was a teenager in the 90s. It felt like back then adults had more access to children in regards to telling them off or disciplining them. And I think in the world we live in today, that's less appropriate, which I think is better. I don't think it does take a village, but also, you know, adults have their own issues and things, and you don't know why they might be disciplining a child, what the purpose of that is. And I think there were times in my childhood where adults, for their own reasons, were not honest about the children around and may have issued discipline out of ego and trying to look a certain way to other people, but it wasn't actually fair to the child. In terms of the way my children are treated by my elders, it's a much softer approach. And again, I think it's appropriate. I think there's something beautiful about grandparents and grandchildren. I know when I had my daughters, both of them had this bond with my mom that it didn't need to be worked on or tried for. It was just, to me, it looked cosmic. They had a connection with her and she had it with them. And she is different, absolutely different with them than she was with us. You know, they go to Nanny's house and it's a holiday home. They go places, they go on little outings, they go for long walks, which is something Mom likes to do. So they'll go on walks for like an hour, 2 hours sometimes with Mom. Children need that place, and I think grandparents being that for them is something special, because my grandparents never disciplined me in any way. I got cussed by Nanny once when we went on a trip. We went on a trip to Devon and we were playing darts, and I threw the dart and it went through the window, and made a hole in the window. So Nanny cussed me off for that, which was quite funny. But other than that, I never really got disciplined by my grandparents. It was always just love and giving us some change for our ice cream or giving us food. And Nanny used to cook a lot and bake a lot, and her job was that she cooked in a hospital, so she would bring back these big tray bakes of Bakewell tarts and things. So hence why I was a fat kid and I was a fat chunky teenager, because there was food everywhere and it was good food. And do I have a piece of advice to give to an elder? Not really, because I do think in my world the elders around me they're good elders. I do listen to the guidance that they give and it's solid. I think the only thing I could advise them, which in truth is kind of to myself as well, is just embrace technology, because there are things that they can use that could enhance their lives. But again, I think there's probably elders out there that are more technologically advanced than I am. There was a recent situation where my mom left her phone in Barbados, and I got this message from this random number saying it was Mom, and she left her phone in Barbados. So I was like, if she left her phone, how's she got my number? So I messaged back and I said, well, I tried to phone it and the phone she wouldn't answer the phone. So I messaged back and I said, how'd you get this number? And she said, I transferred all my numbers onto my tablet and I got it off there. And I was like, nah, this is a crank. There's no way Mom has transferred all her numbers onto a tablet. Like, you're having a laugh. But she had. And my niece had shown her how to do it. And my niece is 14 years younger than me. So she'd shown Mom how to do that. And she did actually have all her numbers on a tablet. So she's ahead of me in that regard. So yeah, I just think it's embraced the technological world. It's advancing very fast. The pace we're moving at the moment is rapid. And you're going to probably do better having an awareness of what's going on. And really the only advice I would give is keep those natural, holistic ways of guidance for the younger generation, because we need it and they need it. So yeah, that's it. So for this edition of the podcast, the elder that I'm bringing on is my mom, and I talk about her often, and she's big in our world. I grew up really spending a lot of my time with Mom. Mom used to take us everywhere with her, me and my younger sister. So I've kind of repeated that with my daughters. And since I've had my children, she's helped me out a lot over the years, just with childcare and getting them to and from school and all the rest of it. So I do talk to my mum often. I see my mum often, and we have a good relationship. And I love my mum a lot. So she's coming on here, and she's old school Bayesian. So yeah, get ready for it. I think it will be a good one. See you then.